Premier League and all that shit starts. And the next thing you know, the NBA is weeks away from starting. That's where we're at right now. Some teams have their media day tomorrow. Some teams have their media day next week. We're a week away, 2 weeks away from preseason basketball starting. And preseason basketball is different than like NFL preseason because guys play and you can kind of learn a lot from some of these teams in the preseason. But I've made a little primer for you guys and really for myself to get ready to embark on what's going to be a fantastic season. Obviously, over the next few weeks, we're going to have preview content, prediction content, all of that stuff, all of that good stuff. Our predictive top 100 list, which I always love doing. But let's get ready. Let's get started with just a primer. Some stuff that we need to know about. Some stuff that we need to remind ourselves. The Thunder are coming off of a championship. Congratulations to them. It wasn't as dominant as I thought it would have been, which does lead some questions and some stuff in the air, but they are coming off of a championship, so let's remind ourselves that. And it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. They are heavy favorites to win the upcoming championship as well. They won 68 games, the second youngest championship team ever, the youngest team since the Blazers won in the 70s. The problem is, though, and the crazy thing is, it's been 8 years since we've had a repeat champion. That, of course, was the 2017-2018 Golden State Warriors. It's the second longest stretch ever. I thought for sure this was the longest stretch ever. In the 60s, late 60s to the 70s, there was an 18-year stretch without a repeat champion. 18-year stretch. Absolutely insane to think about. Especially around that time period. 18 years. I'd like to say I doubt we go that far, but hey, you never know. What's also kind of crazy to think about, it's been 7 years since we've had a repeat conference champion. Now, that is the longest stretch in NBA history without a repeat conference champion. So it's been 7 years. The last team to do it was the Golden State Warriors, obviously, 2018 when they won the finals, and in 2019 when they lost to the Raptors. That was the last time we've seen a team make back-to-back finals. The Thunder obviously have a great chance of being the first team in 7 years to do that. The Pacers, obviously, with Tyrese Halliburton missing the entire season, almost certainly they will not be competing for an NBA Finals this year. Although, I don't know if they make the playoffs. Aaron Nesmith turns into the greatest three-point shooter in the history of the league. And you know that Andrew Nembhard turns into a top 5 player in basketball. And that's probably going to be amplified without Tyrese Halliburton. So who the fuck knows? Actually, they probably could do it. They probably could do it. But as you can see here, the Thunder are clear favorites to win the NBA Finals this upcoming season, plus 230, with the Cavs at plus 650, Nuggets plus 800, Knicks plus 1,000, and Rockets plus 1,000. So Vegas does think the Thunder are pretty heavy favorites. I'm actually interested right now. I'm going to look this up. What were the Celtics last year? 2024, 2025 NBA preseason odds. I'm actually interested in looking at the Celtics had an over-under of 58.5 wins. Jesus Christ. The Celtics were plus 300 last year. I did think the Celtics were going to repeat as champions. So Vegas thinks the Thunder have a better chance of being repeat champions than the Celtics did. Interesting. The Lakers are at like plus 1,500, I think. They're like top 7 or so in odds. What's funny is the closest team to repeating finals was low-key the Heat. Yeah, it was the Heat. You've had a couple teams that have gone like a year or two in between making the finals. The Heat being one of them. The Warriors being one of them. Not a couple. Yeah, a couple years. There was another one. Oh, the Celtics, obviously. Yeah, the Heat went 1 year in between being NBA finals. A lot of your explanation as to why OKC could repeat have also been said about past champs. Yeah, I mean, it's been, like I said, it's been 8 years since we've had a repeat champion. I thought the Celtics were going to repeat as champions, 100%. I did. Now, of course, they had like the injuries, but they were down 3-1 before Tatum tore his Achilles. Or they were about to be down 3-1 because they weren't going to win that game when Tatum tore his Achilles. So they'd probably lose that series anyways. But KP was a pathetic joke, obviously. They kind of took a step back as a team. The Thunder, they got a great shot. I mean, they do. They do. The Drew decline killed them quite a bit as well. And that's the thing is the Thunder do not have old guys on their team, right? I think another really defining thing of the past postseason, but something that will shape the season is all the Achilles injuries suffered in the playoffs last year. Damian Lillard obviously will not play at all this season. He was waived by the Bucks, picked up by the Blazers. We won't see him at all this season. Tyrese Halliburton's already been confirmed, but we won't see him the upcoming season. That catastrophic torn Achilles at Game 7. I still can't believe that happened, man. That was one of the most devastating sports injuries I've ever seen. That's definitely got to be high up on the list. So we won't see him this upcoming season. And then Tatum obviously tore his Achilles in the second round against the Knicks. With him, it's a wait and see. Now, typically, I'd say I would just bank on guys not coming back the next year off of an Achilles injury. But we'll see with Tatum. I am personally of the belief, I think the Celtics are going to be absolute trash. I think they're going to be horrible. So I'm of the belief that the Celtics will probably be in a position where it's like, maybe it's not worth us even risking Tatum coming back. But that remains to be seen. If they're playing well, I think we'll see Tatum this season, 100%. Some big offseason moves that deserve and require your attention. So if you guys are wondering why it's like this, for some reason I thought that this screen covered the entire screen. I wanted some space for my head. So that's why it looks as wonky as it does. So just ignore that, please. But Kevin Durant on the Rockets is probably the biggest, most impactful move made this offseason, right? Houston was a 2 seed last year, kind of shocked all of us. But then we got to the playoffs and all of their weaknesses started to show in that series against the Warriors. They just didn't have a guy. They didn't have a guy late in games to go to. They didn't have that clutch go-to bucket getter. You know, they got a lot of really great and interesting young guys. But even though young guys that they do have don't even really profile as this type of player, right? Şengün looked great in Eurobasket. Had a great season last year. Is he ever a guy that you could put the ball in his hands 3-4 minutes left in a game and just feel great about what's going to happen? Probably not. Amen Thompson, fantastic year. I'm so high on him. He's also not really that guy that I think put the ball in his hands, don't worry about the result. You know, it's going to be good. Kevin Durant is that guy. Absolutely. So this raises their ceiling significantly to the point where don't know if I'd have taken them seriously as title contenders before this trade. I absolutely take them seriously as title contenders now. I think they could absolutely, they'll have defense. They have size that's going to be very difficult to match for a lot of teams. They have athleticism that's going to be pretty difficult to match for a lot of teams. And now you have one of the best bucket getters in the history of the league who's still doing it at an incredibly high level. Yeah, playmaking is going to be a little bit rocky for him. I'm hoping they put the ball in Şengün's hands a little bit more to let him just be an offensive hub. You think Coop will be that guy? Hopefully. Desmond Bane's on the Magic. This move deserves your attention as well. The Magic were the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA last year by a wide margin. I mean, it's embarrassing how bad they were at shooting threes. So them getting Desmond Bane is really, really big. And they paid a hefty-ass price with swaps and stuff. It didn't end up being like 5 picks. 5 picks for Desmond Bane. But I think he's just perfectly fits what they need as a three-point shooter, but also a guy who, he can shoot threes, but put the ball in his hands. 3 recs. There you go. Put the ball in his hands. He can create some offense for himself. Underrated as a playmaker. Competes defensively. I think he fits what they need to a T. And they're a team. The Magic are a team in the East. I don't know how many people are taking them super seriously to make a deep run, but they're a team to monitor big time. They've got a high ceiling because we already know they're great defensively. And, adding Bane doesn't change that equation for them. We know they're very, very big. They got a lot of size. And Paolo's entering year 4. Is this year 4 for Paolo? Yeah. Paolo, that's kind of crazy. Paolo's entering year 4. Franz is entering year 5. Jesus, time flies, huh? And these guys are both guys who could take big leaps forward. Big leaps forward. I'm telling you, there's a world. There's a world where this team's really, really good. Maybe the biggest, most consequential move of the offseason. The Mavericks won the draft lottery. That's right. Did you guys forget? I didn't. The Mavericks won the draft lottery and selected Cooper Flagg, one of the most hyped draft prospects in quite some time. Cooper Flagg. I mean, let's go. Look at him. It will be very interesting to watch how he fits on this Mavericks team, but also 2, it'd be very interested to see just, how how his skills translate to the NBA floor. I am very excited about this. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie. The closer we get, the more nervous I get. I think he's going to be fantastic, though. And I'm very excited to watch him take on the challenges on this Mavericks team. There's going to be a lot of responsibility for him, but good responsibility, though, if that makes sense. Like, no offense to these teams I'm about to mention, but if you went to Brooklyn or really Brooklyn, because Charlotte, you got LaMelo and stuff, and Washington's got a bunch of younger guys too that fit in. But if you went to Brooklyn and it was like, yeah, just be like the point guard, like that's a lot of responsibility, but I don't think that's good responsibility for a player like Flagg. The Mavericks give him a lot of good responsibility for a player his age. He'll have moments where he's got to bring the ball up the floor. He'll have moments where he's going to create for himself. He'll have moments where he's going to create for others. He'll have moments as a pick and roll ball handler. He'll have moments where he's setting screens and rolling to the rim. He'll have moments where he's spotting up for three. He'll have moments where he's coming off of screens for threes or curling off of screens, whatever the case may be. He'll have moments where he pushes the ball in transition, where he leaks out in transition. He'll have all of these different things, and he'll also be in a perfect situation for what he is defensively as well. So that's why I say it's a lot of really good responsibility for Cooper Flagg, and I'm really excited to see how that all plays out for him. He is the overwhelming favorite right now to win Rookie of the Year. That's not really that much of a surprise. Trey Johnson is number 2. That's why I kind of mentioned his name earlier as somebody I think could win Rookie of the Year, only because I think Trey Johnson kind of perfectly fits the Rookie of the Year mold. Or he's on a bad team, really high power offensive guy who's going to have the ball in his hands quite a bit. Dylan Harper plus 1,000, VJ Edgecombe plus 1,300, and Ace Bailey plus 1,500. So, big time Rookie of the Year favorite. Not that much of a surprise. The number 1 overall pick is always Rookie of the Year favorite. Was that the case? Last year? Was Ricochet? No, he wasn't. Wasn't Edie the favorite by the end of it? Am I misremembering that? Wasn't it Edie or Reach? It was Reed Shepherd, wasn't it? Ricochet was not the Rookie of the Year favorite entering the season last year, now that I'm remembering it. A couple of teams I deserve your attention. If you haven't paid much attention during this offseason or whatever the case may be, the Celtics and the Suns. I put these two teams together because I think these are the two teams in the NBA who, without a shadow of a doubt, probably closed their championship window or at least championship aspirations during the offseason. Now, the Celtics are kind of retooling and positioning themselves to kind of maybe take this as a gap year with Tatum out with the Achilles injury and then be back a couple years from now. So we'll see how that pans out. The Suns are just, the pathetic Suns. Maybe there's addition by subtraction here for the Suns. You have a round of applause. Round of applause for both of these teams for, blowing it up, basically. The Celtics had to do it. Both these teams had to do it for cap reasons, really. But the Suns trading away Kevin Durant, that was a marriage that had ended. Little Matt Ishbia, and the Boston Celtics had to do it for cap reasons. I cannot see a world in which the Boston Celtics are good. I really can't. I struggle so hard to see a world where they're even somewhat decent. I think they're going to be terrible, man. I really do. I can't help but think they're going to be awful. I could be wrong on that. I want to point out this team right here. Really, this pair of teams. But I want to talk about the Bucks. Now, if you just kind of tuned out at the end of the season and then are coming back now, you probably thought that Giannis Antetokounmpo was going to request a trade because that was pretty much what was promised to us in a lot of ways. A lot of reporters, no one directly said it, but they were all like, it's going to be the craziest offseason ever, guys. I don't know. Who knows what's going to go on in Milwaukee? Wink, wink. I think almost everybody expected Giannis to demand a trade, and that did not happen. In fact, the Bucks went out and made one of the crazier moves of the offseason, wave and stretching Damian Lillard and then paying Miles Turner a big contract where if you kind of combined the dead cap number for Damian Lillard with Miles Turner contract, you're talking about $50 million a year. So really interesting that Miles Turner left the Pacers and just left in free agency for nothing. I mean, that was just absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But the Bucks will 100% be one of the most interesting teams to watch this season because if you've paid attention at all to Giannis over the last couple of years, he's playing at just an unbelievable level. I mean, he's playing at an unbelievable level. The Bucks have just not really been healthy in the playoffs has been the problem. He hasn't really been healthy in the playoffs is the problem. But he's playing at an unbelievable level. I think he'll continue to play at an unbelievable level. I think right now, and I'm not making my official picks yet, but I think he'd be my MVP pick. And they're just going to be an interesting team to watch. Their backcourt is pretty laughable with their guard rotation. But Giannis, Miles Turner, we've seen this with Brook Lopez. Like, that's kind of this type of center he needs. And I know Miles Turner was trash in the finals, but that's the type of center that he needs, really, a floor spacer. So Brook Lopez just had cement in his shoes. Like, he's so fucking slow and old by the end of his tenure there. The Bucks will just be interesting because if it doesn't go well and they're struggling, yeah, I think the Giannis temperature is going to be ramped up even more. I know we do this every time the Bucks lose one game, but if they're at the trade deadline and they look like a middling team, I'm just not entirely sure what their direction is because Giannis has 2 years left on his contract. So by the trade deadline, it'll be a year and a half. That's when you really got to start thinking about those things. Coach firings. We do not too many crazy ones. Obviously, you had the Kings, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies all fired their coaches mid-season. The Grizzlies and Nuggets did it like with weeks left in the season. Pretty unprecedented. They all kind of brought back their interim coaches. The Knicks did fire Tom Thibodeau. They bring in Mike Brown. So that'll be really interesting. I feel like Mike Brown, at the very least, first couple of years are always really, really solid. So we got that going for us. I'm really interested to see how this plays out. And then the Suns, obviously, Mike Budenholzer gets fired. They bring in Jordan Ott, who is an assistant coach for the Cavs, who people are really, really high on. So just a couple things to note there. Not too many crazy coach changes. I wonder if this is going to be in a trend with the coaching stuff where it's like, hey, we know we're going to fire this guy in the offseason anyways. Let's just fire him weeks left. Yeah, I know. This was one of the ones I forgot about. I knew Tibbs got fired, and I was like, who was the new? Oh, yeah, that's right, Mike Brown. I literally had that this morning. Where I was like, who was it again? Oh, yeah, Mike Brown. They were planning on Kidd. Yeah, if you missed that whole saga, the Knicks were going really hard after Jason Kidd, or at least it was reported they were. That could also be a Kidd contract extension with the Mavericks negotiation play. Could be. Obviously, the Kawhi Leonard saga, unless you're living under a rock, you know what this is. The Clippers is being investigated. The Kawhi Leonard had a sketch sheet. By the way, what the fuck is this outfit? What was this? This was 2019, right? What was this shirt, bro? What is that shirt for like an introductory press conference? Anyways, Pablo Torre has dug up that Kawhi Leonard had a deal with some shady ass tree company that was paying him $48 million to do literally nothing. He never did a single thing for this company. And it just so happens that Clippers ownership was pouring money into this company, even though it was a sinking ship. So we'll see how that investigation plays out. It's going to be hanging over their heads. They do host the All-Star game this year, which is interesting. So we'll see. Yes, my solution, my punishment solution would be force Steve Ballmer and Kawhi Leonard to plant $50 million worth of trees with their own bare hands. That would be mine. That would be my punishment for them. Obviously, that's not what they're going to do. But this is something to think about because there is a world in which the NBA decides, all right, you guys did do this. Like, we have enough evidence to come to the conclusion that you guys did circumvent the cap. And if they come to that conclusion, the Clippers are going to get hit hard with penalties. And that could happen during the season. So this will absolutely have an effect on how the season plays out, 100%. Because I do think the Clippers are a pretty solid team this year. Luka Doncic, speaking of the other LA team, the Luka Doncic revenge tour. First full season with LA for Luka. We've seen it all off season long. Obviously, that trade is still to this day one of the biggest stories in all of sports. He's in Lakerland now. He's in Los Angeles now. On top of that, he's got a new shoe dropping with Jordan. So they're making a big time push for Luka, and he's lost some weight. We've gotten about 6 or 7 different media magazine covers for Luka. We've had the Overwatch Billboard saga. He was on Good Morning America. They asked him if he was on Ozempic. I would have slapped somebody if they asked me that as a professional athlete, if I was on Ozempic. He absolutely cooked in Eurobasket. The revenge tour starts now. All right, I just wanted to say this. All of this shit in the offseason, that's for the birds, right? It's all petty stuff. And it is, right? The Mavericks obviously incredibly petty, don't get me wrong. But Luka obviously doing petty stuff as a get back, which he has every right to do. All of that shit's for the birds, right? The revenge tour, the get back starts now. All right. The get back did not happen last year. Obviously, the Mavericks went downhill, but Luka was recovering from his calf injury and just really didn't look like the Luka we're used to at any point for the Lakers. So if you're a Lakers fan, you can have solace in that, because I watched pretty much every single Luka game with the Lakers. He did not look anywhere near top of his form, Luka Doncic. So you do have that to look forward to. But the revenge tour and the get back starts now. Luka doesn't get revenge on the Mavericks by posing for GQ articles and Men's Health articles that say that he has a 42-inch vertical. Like, that's not the revenge tour for Luka Doncic. The revenge tour isn't like, hey guys, I learned that I need to eat protein and like be healthy and work out. That's not the revenge tour. The revenge tour is showing up and playing. Okay. The revenge tour is being healthy over the course of the season. That's it. If he's on the floor and he's healthy and he's not like battling through some type of injury or coming back from some type of injury, he's a consensus top 3 player in the sport. We know that. That's not really even up for debate, right? And at his peak, the best player in the sport. I thought a couple years ago he was the best player in the sport. That's his revenge. Okay. That's it. He lost weight this summer. That's not revenge. That's for the birds. If he shows up in the season and plays and is healthy, that's the revenge. Because Nico Harrison bet on Luka being unhealthy and Luka not taking his body seriously enough and it being a bad return on investment because he's going to be dealing with injuries constantly. That is the bet the Mavericks took. The revenge is showing up and playing and being healthy and staying in this shape over the course of a season. Staying in this shape if you have to miss a couple weeks with an ankle sprain. So there's the revenge. And I think he'll probably get it, honestly. Do you think Mavs crowd ever turns on Luka? No. And speaking of Luka, he's third in MVP odds, plus 380. Shea, I think this is probably the first year in a while that he has not been the favorite entering the season. But Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, plus 150. I kind of struggle to see a world where Shea wins again, to be honest with you. Only because like last year he got it because the Thunder were just so good. And Shea was incredible. Absolutely. I just don't know. He's just not clear cut better than everyone else. You know, where like I do think there's times where Jokic feels like he's clear cut better than everybody else. And if the Nuggets are really good, I could see Jokic getting it. Yeah, I mean, no, I don't know if there's a drop off coming for Shea. I just don't think if the Thunder have a very similar season to last year where they're mid 60 wins and Shea has a very similar season, but like Jokic has the Nuggets are the 2 seed and Jokic has a crazy season, I think Jokic probably wins. Or the Lakers are the 3 seed and Luka averages like 31, 9, and 9. Like that probably wins MVP, if I'm being honest with you, right? Wemby at 5 is a fucking joke. Well, no, because Wemby, here's the thing with Wemby. Wemby will always be high in MVP odds entering a season because there's going to be the year where he doesn't. Like that's it. There's going to be the year where it clicks for Victor Wembanyama and he looks great offensively and he takes steps offensively and he's healthy, he's on the floor and he is like so far and away the most impactful defender in the NBA and it's not even remotely close. Actually, you know what? Let me hold off on Wemby because we're going to talk about him here in a bit. B-Dot, 34 months, Demon home. And this will be a really interesting MVP race. It really will. It really, really will. Speaking of the devil, Wemby has spent his summer training with monks. He's been cleared. My DVT brother, Wemby, my DVT brother, has been cleared to return to basketball activities. He's been training with monks. He was training with Kevin Garnett. I think Hakeem Olajuwon too as well, right? He was there. He's been doing quite a bit of side quests. And now, was in China trading with monks. So this could be it. This could be monks, Hakeem, KG. He's doing martial arts. This could be it for Victor Wembanyama. He is minus 185 to win Defensive Player of the Year before the season even starts. Minus 185. Oh, I didn't even realize AD is 4th. All right, we'll take that. Hey, if AD finishes 4th in Defensive Player of the Year voting, things are going good. I'll say that. Wemby minus 185 to win. If he's healthy, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He was running away with it last year before the blood clot issue ended his season prematurely. Again, why he's high on MVP odds, and he will be high on MVP odds, because he is so far and away the most impactful defender in the league. And then combine that with the fact that, yeah, he's shown enough flashes offensively that there's going to be a time where it clicks for him and he becomes an uber impactful offensive player as well. And then when you combine the two, he will be the most impactful player in the league. That's going to happen. Okay? Let me tell you right now. That's going to happen. That's just the truth. There will be years where Wemby is the best player in the league. It's a guaranteed foregone conclusion. To me, that's not even up for debate. Wemby will be the best player in the sport in the not so distant future, as long as he's healthy and doesn't suffer a catastrophic injury. Knock on wood. So I've already seen enough from Wemby on that front. I know sometimes offensively his game's a little bit shaky, but hey, he's a young player who's a lot's being asked of him. Chet at 2 is some nonsense as well. No, I don't really think so. Yeah, no Mobley here, who just won the award, is a little bit surprising, but no, Chet being that high is not that shocking. I mean, Mobley's on here, obviously. I only did the top 5. Just throw this out here. Germany did just win Eurobasket. You got some NBA guys on this roster. Dennis Schroeder won MVP. Didn't have a great tournament, but had a fantastic closing couple minutes in that game against Turkey that won him the award pretty much. He's on the Kings now. Franz, the 3-point shot still looks shaky as hell, but just something to monitor some of these guys. Do we get an international boost to a Dennis Schroeder? We've already seen him do this. Probably not. Do we get an international boost to Franz Wagner? And Tristan da Silva played pretty well. So something to think about for that Magic squad. Would you trade Flagg for Mobley straight up? No. The Jonathan Kuminga situation is still lingering. I gotta be honest with you guys, I couldn't give a shit less about this. I mean, like, I don't think Kuminga's, as a player, I don't think Kuminga is worth all of this at all. Maybe there's some real upside there with him. Like, a team like Sacramento wanting him makes all the sense in the world to me. You're already not going to be a competitive team. You're kind of lacking young talent. So let's just go out and get this guy and hope for the best. I get that from Sacramento's point of view. For Golden State, you already know he doesn't fit what you have going on. I don't want to speak for the guy or anything like that, but it does seem as though he's more of a me-focused guy. It's just the truth. He's more of a me-focused guy. When he was dealing with the injury last season, the Warriors were just racking up wins without him. I don't think this team desperately needs him all that much. But if he were to radically shift his play style to really fit in on this team-centric, style of play the Warriors have, he's a great luxury for them, a great commodity for them to have. But yeah, this constant, like, I want the ball in my hands. I'm upset. I don't want to be coming off the bench. I need to have this role. I need to have this much money. It just does not fit with this team. And they've really fucked this. The Warriors have absolutely and totally fucked this. I mean, there was a time where Jonathan Kuminga could have netted you could have been the focal point of like a Pascal Siakam trade. That's out the window now. They've completely and totally botched this entire situation. And now it's gotten ugly, and who knows where it's going to end up. This still hasn't even been resolved. Oh, this is a big one. So in case you forgot, and I'm so excited about this, the NBA's new TV deal is kicking in. So we've got the NBA is no longer on TNT. Inside the NBA will be on ESPN, which will be very, very interesting. But Amazon and NBC have entered the mix. Obviously, NBC has a lot of great history with the NBA. And I'm very excited about what they're bringing to the table. And I'm excited about Amazon. I am. It's another one of these streaming services. I do kind of think, and I feel this, whenever I watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon, I think they kind of get it. I think Amazon gets it. And we know that they'll pour money into it if needed. I'm excited to see. And the crews for both of these networks are good. NBC play-by-play crew. You have Mike Tirico, Noah Eagle, Terry Gannon, Michael Grady. For analysts, you have Jamal Crawford, Reggie Miller, who I think actually gets some undeserved hate. I really do. Grant Hill, Brad Doherty, Derek Fisher, Robbie Hummel, Austin Rivers, Brian Scalabrine. That could be fun. Studio host Maria Taylor. Studio analysts Mello, Vince Carter, who I think is good at this stuff. He's good when he's on NBA TV and stuff. Or he was on TNT, wasn't he? Or was it NBA TV? They kind of do both, don't they? T-Mac, Tracy McGrady. You've got Michael Jordan listed here as a special contributor. I don't know what that's going to look like, really. I don't know how often MJ will appear on there. But yeah, I mean, that would be great to see, like, MJ and Reggie Miller. A Kawhi situation? It could be a Kawhi situation. So the NBC crew is stacked. The Amazon crew is fucking loaded. I mean, that's what I was saying. Amazon is not messing around. They're bringing it. I think Amazon recognizes what's happening here, the shift, and like all of these streamers, they want sports. Netflix wants sports. All of these streamers want sports. So Amazon's saying, we are going to corner this market. We're going to corner this market. Amazon's crew, Ian Eagle, one of the best in the business, right? Kevin Harlan, one of the best in the business. Michael Grady. Someone's wrong. I have Michael Grady on NBC and Amazon. Okay. I don't know about Michael Grady. Eric Collins? Is this true? Is Eric Collins really going to be with Amazon? Because that is an absolutely loaded. Yeah, Eric Collins is going to be on that. Yeah, they are loaded. Oh, shit. I mean, Ian Eagle, Kevin Harlan, and I don't know if Michael Grady's on Amazon or NBC. I have them as both. And Michael Grady is pretty good. But Eric Collins, Kevin Harlan, and Ian Eagle, holy hell. That is absolutely stacked. And their analysts are Stan Van Gundy, Dwayne Wade, who I don't think is very good on TV. I got to be honest with you. Candace Parker, who I do think is good on TV. Blake Griffin, hilarious. Dirk Nowitzki. Look at my goat. Look at my goat, man. And I do think Dirk's actually really good on TV. Brent Barry. Brent Barry used to, unless I'm misremembering, Brent Barry used to be on TNT a good amount, didn't he? I do think Brent Barry's actually pretty good. Del Curry. Wow. So is Del Curry and... Because Eric Collins and Del Curry is the Charlotte Hornets crew. Are they done? Well, Del Curry's really good. If you've watched any Charlotte Hornets games on League Pass, you know how great that's going to be. So it's not for everybody. Eric Collins is very animated, but I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I think it's actually exactly what a national broadcast for the NBA needs desperately bad, is somebody who just fucking loves the game. And then you have sideline reporters Cassidy Hubbard, who's really good. You have Taylor Rooks, who's really good. It's gonna be good. I mean, I'm really excited about this. I like Candace on TV, honestly. I do. I think she's fine. You have the Trae Young and Patrick Beverley beef that's currently ongoing. I've said this before. Patrick Beverley's heart just doesn't seem in it at all. I think Patrick Beverley's podcast is dreadful. These player podcasts, man. The bubble has been bursted, right? It used to be like, yeah, just put a player in front of a microphone, whatever. Like the people are interested. Now it's gotten to the point where it's like, but these are just boring and awful. And Patrick Beverley's one's terrible. I think Patrick Beverley's kind of wisening up to this. And it realizes like, I need to go like viral and I have to like be in beefs and like constantly shit on the current NBA. That's what works. But then you watch the clips and it's like Patrick Beverley's heart's just not in it. When he's shitting on Trae Young, it's not in it. It just isn't in it. Who is worse, Gilbert or Patrick Beverley? I'd say Patrick Beverley, because at least Gilbert Arenas, and I think his is trash as well and bad for the league actively because he's just constantly shitting on it. He is entertaining and funny. I'm very interested to watch the Cleveland Cavaliers this upcoming season. They're the favorites to win the Eastern Conference. This feels make or break for them. I'm going to close this out with, some make or break teams this upcoming season. This feels make or break for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah, Gilbert Arenas has some funny moments. I mean, he just objectively kind of does. If they don't win this year, or if they have a similar end to the season that they've had the last couple of years where it just kind of flames out in sad fashion and they kind of choke it away. I think this is a completely different team. I think they have to look at making moves, whether that be Darius Garland, whether that be Jared Allen. Probably not going to be Donovan Mitchell or Mobley. Those are two guys you want to keep around. Mobley's somebody to watch this year as well. Obviously, just won Defensive Player of the Year, but is there another step forward for Mobley? Because if there is, that dramatically changes things for the Cavs. If there isn't, that also changes things for the Cavs. So they might be one of the most interesting teams. Obviously, the Lakers are going to be very interesting to watch. I just, on paper, don't think they have a great team. I just, on paper, don't see how they compete with some of these other teams in the Western Conference. I think they're like in the Mavericks tier of teams, which is just like really solid teams that, I probably don't want to see in the playoffs really, but I'm not like taking them all that seriously as a contender. However, if you do get the MVP Luka season, and if you do get like an 8 and bounce back season, there's a pathway. Does a Wiggins trade make them contenders? A Wiggins trade is quite interesting for them, assuming you get a locked-in Wiggins. But that could be a trade deadline type move for them, for sure, which would be interesting. But obviously, The Lakers are one of the most interesting teams because it's the Lakers, it's LeBron James. I mean, this could be it. This could be it for LeBron. I mean, it's very possible. He's going to be 41 years old, going on 42. Absolutely could be it for him. You've got Ayton there. You've got Smart there. It's just going to be a really interesting team to watch. I think they'll be solid. And I think they'll probably be solid enough for Luka to get real serious MVP consideration. And again, you get to the playoffs, you don't want to see Luka Doncic on the other side of the floor. You don't want to see LeBron James. Like, you don't want to see this team in the playoffs. But they have to make it there. I do think this team has crash and burn potential. Sadly enough, I do. I do think it could be a trade down. It's like LeBron wants out. Reeves, what are we going to do with his contract? He might not be worth all this, but he wants all of this. Ayton is a loser. Like, all of those things are absolutely on the table. The Knicks are another really interesting team. Who has more pressure on them, the Knicks or the Cavs? I would say with the Cavs being kind of crash outs and flame outs in the playoffs, there's more pressure on them. The Knicks are, along with the Cavs, I think, clear cut, those two teams are the best teams in the Eastern Conference. It would be a little surprising to me if one of those teams did not end up winning the East. I do think the Knicks, if I had to pick one right now, I'd think the Knicks win the East. But there's some pressure on them, for sure. If they don't, let's say they lose in round 2 or something like that this upcoming season, obviously they were a team that lost in the conference finals a year ago and felt enough pressure to fire their coach that I think, what happens to them if they crash and burn this postseason? Like, what's on the cards? I'd say probably a Josh Hart trade, kind of reshape that lineup. But what I'm thinking in my brain, and I don't even know how this could be possible with picks, but like, let's say the Bucks aren't good and the Knicks flame out in the postseason. I could 100% see that being what they decide to do. Like, we're going to make a big all-in trade for a guy like Giannis versus having this, really, really, really talented starting five. We're just going to go all in on a guy like Giannis. That's something I'm interested in watching. I think the Knicks are one of the most interesting teams and one of the better looking teams on paper. The Nuggets are pretty interesting. They got a lot better. If they lose in like round 2 this upcoming season, what's their game plan? If Jamal Murray kind of has a sluggish looking season, what's their game plan? They don't have like a lot of avenues anymore to really improve their team. So they're a team I'm really interested in, although I do think they'll be good. And similar to the Lakers, you don't want to see that team in the playoffs ever. The Timberwolves also. The Timberwolves have just flown so far under the radar when you talk about all these teams in the Western Conference. You typically talk about the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Rockets. But I mean, the Timberwolves have they've been there. They've been in the conference finals 2 consecutive years. And they haven't gotten much worse. Now, Mike Conley getting older and Rudy Gobert getting older, and both those guys clearly losing steps, is pretty impactful. Especially Mike Conley. Because he's been really important for them. And I think he might be approaching like not even being a guy you can play this upcoming season because he was reaching those points at times last year. So they'll be interesting to watch. I do think they're flying under the radar, though. Ant regression. Well, there's also a world where Ant... It's possible that this is just who Ant is, like a top 7 or 8 player in the league who never takes like that top 3 leap. But there is a world where he takes it. And then, of course, closing this out with my team, the Dallas Mavericks, who... it got into my head, if I had to say what probably happens, I would say they're probably just like a solid 7 seed or something like that. That, it's fine. You know what their weaknesses are, and their weaknesses are obvious. Probably like not a fun team to play. You're not like looking forward to playing them. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. However, there's a wide range of outcomes for them. Yeah, there's a world where like Kyrie comes back and is 80% what he was before the injury, which I think is what to be expected. It takes usually, it takes a year to recover, or less than a year at this point, but 8 months to recover from an ACL injury. But it really takes a year plus to get back to where you really were. And Kyrie's also on the wrong side of 30. But if Kyrie comes back and looks great, and AD stays healthy, and Flagg is immediately a top 60 or so player in the league, this will probably be a really fucking good team. Like, honestly. Like, people are sleeping on the ceiling of this Mavericks team. 100% they are, right? But there is also a world where this thing bottoms out, the craziest floor and ceiling potential. Yeah, I mean, there's a world where this thing bottoms out. You know, where AD's injured. He's already dealing with this eye injury. He'll be ready for the season. I feel good about that. And maybe Kyrie just doesn't come back at all this year. Or if he does, maybe it takes him a while to get going again. Maybe it takes Flagg a little bit to get accustomed to the NBA. Yeah, there's definitely a world where this thing bottoms out. And I do think if it bottoms out bad, I do think you probably see Nico Harrison getting fired. I just think the heat will be so hot and the noise will be so loud that I think you'll have no choice really but to make that move. If I know anything about this Dallas Mavericks organization and what they've done to me over really the entirety of my life, they won't be a boring team this year, would be my guess. My guess is there's going to be a lot going on because that's usually how it goes. It's usually how it is. This team will probably be, whether it's really good or really bad, there's just always something fucking insane happening, which is what I fully expect. Healthy vets and Coop is amazing at the gate equals third best team in the league. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's like really high ceiling here. And I think underrated and underappreciated ceiling, right? I don't know how realistically obtainable it is. I don't know how realistically attainable it is. Are the Mavs ever boring though? No. Do you guys remember last year, preseason? Do you guys remember what I was saying? Do you guys remember the only thing I was asking for last year? Does anyone remember what I was saying? The only thing I was asking for is I hope the Mavericks have a boring season. Like, I just hope they cruise to a 3 seed and there's just not a lot going on. That was my hopes and dreams for last season. So, obviously, that ended up not being the fucking case. I think for this Mavericks team to reach their ceiling, they have to be an elite defense and not just top 10. They can't be the 8th best defense. They have to be like the 2nd or 3rd best defense. I think that's, if they want to be good, really good, that has to be what they do, right? That has to be what they do. Anything outside of that, and I just don't see a world in which they're good. They have to be elite defensively, and they got the pieces to be elite defensively. And I think Derek Lively is one of the most interesting players to me. I want to see a big leap forward for him, and I want him to stay healthy. That's it. That's my primer. I don't know what we'll talk about on Wednesday, but we're going to ramp up the NBA content. We're back, baby. We're so fucking back.